Before you begin this episode, we wanted to let you know that the topic of suicide is discussed. So please make sure to take care of yourself while listening.
Welcome to Healing Generations, a podcast creating a dialogue uplifting the importance of healing, strengthening, and supporting our communities, and that addresses the disparities and inequities in communities of color. Healing Generations is brought to you by the Healing Generations Institute, a collaborative initiative of the National Compadres Network and the Brotherhood of Elders. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on our new releases.
Welcome to the Healing Generation podcast. My name is Ariel Jimenez, and I will serve as one of your hosts for today's segment. Today, we want to take a moment and express gratitude. Gratitude for the new year and this moment of transition. Whether you celebrate the Gregorian New Year, the Lunar New Year, or the Mexican New Year, to us, they all represent a moment of transition and renewal. And with that in mind, we want to welcome you into today's conversation. We hope that you enjoy this conversation because we have an amazing guest with us that's going to share a lot of his wisdom with us today. But before we get started, I want to take a moment and pass the palabra over to my co-host, Alejandro Osuna, to simply just give us a little bit of a welcome and just get us started. So, AB, always good to have you with us. Let's go ahead and get started.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone. Or Lunar New Year, too, because that just passed right now. We have a whole setup in my work where you go to the back and it's all like everything back there. So we have something set up for Black History Month. We had something set up for Dia de los Reyes, Lunar New Year. It's pretty cool. So shout out to all those that are happening right now, especially February for Black History Month. I'm really excited for this podcast because it is a friend of mine that we've almost been friends with for a whole year. In July, that'll be our 1-year anniversary of friendship. So I'm very blessed to have gotten to know this individual. And yeah, welcome, Khrystian. Just do a little short introduction of yourself and then we'll jump into the questions.
Hello. How's it going? I'm Khrystian. That's Khrystian with the K. I'm glad to be here. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I'm glad I had this opportunity to just, be on the podcast with you guys. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I feel like we have been promising you that you would be on the podcast as long as we've been promising Diego Buga, which was when we did that circle training all the way back in last July. So grateful to have you on finally. So you know how we start with most things. We start with a little conocimiento, who are you? Who do you represent? Anything you want to tell our listeners about yourself? And yeah, go ahead.
All right. My name is Khrystian Jose Sanchez. I am from Hollister originally, but, raised in Eastside San Jose. I am the son to John Sanchez and Virginia Bojorquez. I am a Latin native. Proud to be one. I am a horror movie buff. A movie buff as well. Those kind of go together. I kind of consider myself a little bit of a chef. I dabble with the ramen making here and there.
The culinary arts.
I kind of consider myself a comedian too. A lot of people could say the same, but it's just like it kind of comes out like natural for me. Like comedy is just kind of like my thing.
He ain't even trying. That's what he's saying right now.
And yeah, there's little things about me right there for the listeners to know.
No, I definitely appreciate that. And I know the listeners are going to get an opportunity to know the different layers of Khrystian the way we have. Because when you said you're a little bit of a comedian, that resonated with me. Because when I hear Ozzy Cruz, one of my mentors, say there is healing medicine within laughter, you are who I think of. Because you just definitely come with that personality. So let me ask you this next question, right? Because I got the privilege of getting to know you and meeting you actually on your birthday. You came into a group and you said, hey, I heard about this group. It's my birthday. Can I sit in today? And I was just like, I'm setting up the altar. I was like, we have a seat for you. Come on in. But, when you first got connected to Circle and Joven Noble, what was that introduction like for you? Can you take us through that journey a little bit?
Yeah. Well, at first, when I actually heard about the group, it was during summer school. I heard about it through my friend. She was talking about going to girls group every week. and she said there's a boys group, and if you go, you get like $500. And of course, I thought that's bogus. You know, they're not gonna give out money for just going to a little so-called group. Little did I know that would actually be true, and I kind of missed out on that. But just like going through summer school and whatnot, I just never really thought about it until it came to the end of it. And then when the school year started, I heard about it and I was like, all right, you know what? I'll give it a shot. Why not? People said I couldn't sign up for like a couple weeks when the school started. And then I figured, all right, I'm going to go this week. And during that week on my birthday, I just went for it, Went to the room, asked if I could join, and I joined. So, yeah.
You sure did. I mean, you joined and then you became a circle keeper, which I think not many people know, but you are a circle keeper and you run group at the high school you literally did circle at. So that's amazing. I didn't know that. I didn't know you came in on your birthday. I'm sure you told that story before, but that's freaking funny because that is such a Christian thing to do. That's so you to just go in and be like, hey, it's my birthday. You can't say no. So that was a very fun story to hear about. And, our next question kind of plays into Círculo too. You've gone through our regular teachings, our turtle teachings, and you've gone through our advanced teachings. We did that during the summer. So out of any of those, what was your favorite teaching, the teaching that stuck most with you? I know we've had this conversation before, but who knows, maybe your answer changed. So yeah, what was your favorite teaching?
Well, the teaching that really resonates with me would be I'm sorry if I butcher it, the En la Quech,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that one just really connects with me because a lot of people have standards for what they want when it comes to a partner, Everybody has the ideal mate in their head when it comes to, having and wanting a partner. And then when you get one, you think that like they're going to reach those standards and, have all those attributes. It's like you want this perfect person, and then you're not actually like willing to perfect yourself for this person. And it's like, why should you have this wonderful thing when you're not even doing these wonderful things for yourself? Mm-hmm. And I think about that a lot when it comes to me and my partner now. I don't want to like ask for something I cannot give back. So it just really puts me in check when it comes to that.
Yeah, no, and that's a beautiful teaching, right? Because sometimes we don't look inward in that way. I think sometimes with I'm going to call it our love checklist, we tend to be very prescriptive, right? I want my partner to do A, B, and C. I want my partner to have these attributes. And I think one of the things that I like about that teaching that you mentioned is that it allows us to look inward and say, okay, if I'm looking for this in a partner, how am I also providing that same thing into the relationship? And then we dive into a conversation of what does reciprocity really look like? And how do you honor your boundaries and other people's boundaries in that process? So no, I definitely appreciate that. Thank you for bringing that up. And you didn't butcher it. That's how we say it, right? And like it, and that's how we connect, right? Tú eres mi otro yo, you are the other me. So I really appreciate that. What I equally appreciate is how you've been able to come into the circle and own that space for yourself. Like you first came in and participated and said, there was a lot of beautiful things that you took from the circle. And then you came back next semester and said, hey, I brought some friends along. Here's my buddy Dom. He needs to be in circle. Here's my buddy Ray. He needs to be in circle. Here, is this person. You got to bring him in too. And you really kind of became that recruit for us. So my question to you is, what about that space allowed you to feel comfortable to bring your circle into the circle?
I'd say it was you, actually. You just kind of provided a safe space for all the young men there in the circle. And we were all learning the same things all together. One of us wasn't like ahead of the other when it came to certain subjects or whatnot. I learned a lot of things, and I'm pretty sure everybody else learned a lot of things as well. So we were all kind of going at the same pace, and there wasn't no judgment there. So I was able to really just talk about my feelings and how I'm doing and all that. So I don't know, all of that just made me feel really welcome. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, welcoming is such an important word when it comes to group or trainings for group or anything that involves it, because, you know, we all have that feeling when you walk into a room and you automatically feel like everyone doesn't like you or everyone's secretly judging you. And I mean, it is important to walk into a space where you feel completely welcomed, where you know you're going to be appreciated, even if you're just showing up. Whether or not you participate, that's up to you, but we're still going to welcome you in and we're still going to have that seat for you. Speaking of welcoming, one thing you did make me feel when I first met you was welcome. You know, I was told at the beginning of that training, there's 2 dudes in there that you're going to be working with during the summer, so get to know them during this training. And I was all like, oh man, because I was nervous. And Khrystian comes up to me during the Rochambeau game and is like, you want to be my partner? And I was like, I guess we're going to be partners. And then the rest was history, you know? I mean, that whole experience, I don't know for you if you feel the same way, but it was really life-changing for me to be able to just sit in a group with all these youth that really wanted to make that difference in their communities, that were learning these abilities to make that difference, and who had even gone through group themselves. So, I mean, what was your experience with the Circle Keeper training? How was it for you?
It was very comforting knowing that, you know, I was surrounded by a bunch of like-minded people. We all kind of came from like different spots of like California, Silicon Valley and stuff like that, you know. We were all just, I guess, close to each other. And then we actually got close to each other there at the training. And it was just it was really nice to just like exchange ideas and thoughts for what we wanted for each other and for the things that were like happening with our youth at the time.
Definitely. I mean, for me, one of the most memorable experiences from that training was when we did the "Who are you?" question, the question game that we did with each other, where we looked at each other and one person just asked the other person, "Who are you?" for a minute. My partner was Khrystian. And we did it 2 times. And I mean, we started that training definitely as strangers, but after that, I knew like, oh no, we're going to be friends. We're going to be besties after this. And that was a really memorable moment for me with you, with the whole group, because you saw how everyone just really connected to each other and opened up to each other. So what was your most memorable experience in the training specifically? Like, what to you really made you feel, no, yeah, this is what I want to do long term. I want to run Círculo. I want to connect with youth in the community.
Well, one of them would be the Rochambeau thing. You know, that was really what really just got me right there. But the web we did, when we all went in a circle and then threw the yarn and made the web, that was really touching. And as I was right there, like in the circle with all of you, I was like, wow, here we are, all crying. This is good. I like this, you know? And it was right there, and I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do, you know? And then like when I met you and we did the thing, you know, the game and stuff, I kind of thought like, yeah, all right, this is gonna be my dude right here, you know? And I didn't think me and you would end up working together, but you know, like here we are, yeah. And I love you, dog, you know?
I love you too, Khrystian. Ariel, I don't know if you want to explain what he's talking about when it comes to the web activity, just so our listeners know a little bit what that's about.
Yeah, of course. You know, the teaching is the web that binds us. And what we do is we get a ball of yarn and we get an opportunity to bring a person into the space, right? You would mention someone that you're connected to that has taught you something. For example, I could say my grandpa Cirilo Bustos really taught me unconditional love. And then what I do with that yarn, I toss it across to another person. They bring a person into space with the teaching, and we allow everybody to share. And at the end, what we end up doing is really creating that web. And we put something of value in the center. And it allows us to say, you know, if we were to surround this child, this person, with all of these people and all of those teachings, we could really support them in that transition of being held up. And that, it's a beautiful thing, right? Also, when you connect to that web, you're connected to somebody on the other side. And sometimes you're able to feel that connection. But then the additional part is then as we go in a circle, popcorn style at your own time, you say, what is one of the traumas that impacts your community? And as you do that, you let go of your string. And what we then realize is that sometimes it takes maybe one or two traumas for that person in the middle to fall, right? So it could be a very beautiful activity. If you don't know how to run the activity, we don't recommend for you to just do it, just to do it, because there's a level of intention that you got to put into it. There's also a level of, it could also be very deep and triggering. And if you're not ready to support people through that journey, it could be very harmful too. But I think when you bring people together and you develop a welcoming space and a safe space where people could bring in who are the people that supported me, but also what are some traumas that I see within our community, it could be a very beautiful teaching moment. So yeah, thank you for bringing that into the space. I've seen it be done in a very beautiful way with the maestras and the maestros. And it allows people to really reflect on who is my community, who has been there to support me, and what are some things I've faced and I struggled with. I hope I did that justice. Anything I might have missed, AB?
No, that was a perfect explanation.
Perfect. So let me ask you this, Chris, right? Because you went to that training and you said, I want to be a circle keeper. I want to be able to run spaces and be a circle keeper for the youth because of what you benefited. You then got an opportunity, both of you got an opportunity to be circle keepers at Foothill High School, the same high school that you graduated from. How was that transition for you? Going from being a student there to being a circle participant to then now coming back as a graduate, as an alumni, and say, I'm here to support these circles as a paid staff. How was that transition for you? Was it difficult? Was it easy? Talk a little bit about that.
It was a little hard at first because I was surrounded by, friends, and we all act goofy and whatnot, and I had to put some of them in check at times, and it's like, I was there to be, a circle keeper and kind of sort of like a teacher, I wasn't really there to be a friend when I was in circle, but at the same time, I am a friend, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you had to wear both hats, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to, choose our friendship over the teachings and what was happening in group at that time. So that was a little hard for me, like the first couple of weeks. But then when we were really going through the motion, it was a lot easier. I didn't really have to put them in check, so that was pretty cool. But it was just it was nice to start teaching what I learned, even though we were like in the same circle together a semester prior. It was cool. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, right? Because I know I transitioned from being like a participant to then a circle keeper as well, and I had my own struggles in that transition. And part of it was what you mentioned, that change of responsibilities, right? I'm not only responsible to be a healthy friend, but I'm also responsible for the space. So sometimes there might be a little bit of conflict, a little bit of clash within those two responsibilities. But say someone came up to you right now from a current circle and says, hey, I want to be a circle keeper in the future. What advice would you have for them in that transition?
I would ask them if they're ready for it, because I know you got to have a pretty good mentality when you go into it. You got to, be positive. And a lot of the time, you don't want to like be down and like bring that with you to work. Like you can bring it to circle, you can talk about it, but like you got to make sure it's really going to be, I guess, affecting your performance for that.
Okay.
I really agree with you, Sid, when you said, you got to be there for them, because I think that's like kind of a tough part that some circle keepers face is, sometimes, I mean, we're humans too, we're going to go through our own stuff. Some days we're going to wake up just not ready for it. And you don't want to go into a space where you're supposed to be there for them to like not depend on you, but for them to be with you and for them to feed off of your energy and then bring in all this negative energy into this space too, So it's like the balance between that is difficult sometimes, especially when we're teenagers, like we're not adults yet. We're not Ariel's age where he's had experience this and for so long. So he knows how to, balance it or know when to just not show up, like take days for himself and be like, I'm not in a healthy space to run this group right now because I know I'm going to push my stuff onto them. So, I think it just comes with learning as we go. And yeah, I really just connected to what you said right there. Cause, some days I'd be waking up for group and I'm like, I have this commitment to these guys and like, I want to be there for them, but also I can't help them if I'm not helping myself and taking that time for myself. So yeah, I really connected with what you said right there. And it kind of plays into mental health in our youth today. And the struggles that our youth are going through, especially in our community. I know when we were doing YPAR, that was one of the main things that came up was mental health in the community. So I just want to ask you, what are some struggles that you see youth face today that you weren't aware of before? Like what are some things that you're noticing during group, maybe during online, social media, just even around your surroundings that you see that, oh, like this is something youth are going through right now?
What I've like noticed like now would be the drug use. It seems like teens nowadays are like getting their hands on all kinds of drugs. More specifically nicotine. It wasn't like a huge thing like a few years ago, but now it's like everybody has like a nicotine device. Kids from like ages 10 to whatever, they're able to get their hands on that, and it's horrible. They shouldn't be able to have the power to like get these from like different people and whatnot. They shouldn't be able to like even make like it grinds my gears, I really don't like it, and it's really affecting our youth. The nicotine becomes like a priority to them instead of their education or just wanting to actually live their life. They want to just choose drugs over that. I understand like if people come from like like a sad background, and they kind of go towards drugs to change their moods, but when you just want to use drugs and just become addicted because you think it's cool, it really just messes up your whole life. The other day I seen like these 6th graders, middle schoolers, just using these things at the mall, and it was heartbreaking because they should be just wanting to go watch movies or go to the arcade, but instead here they are just puffing on clouds in the food court. So it's sad.
The word heartbreaking, I think, is the perfect way to sum that up, because you see people on many different levels with different drugs on different paths of addiction, right? Whether it's nicotine, fentanyl, everything right now is really impacting our community, and more targeted, really impacting the youth. And I know the youth that I've talked to really talk about, well, this is my coping strategy. When I'm feeling alone, this is kind of my outlet. This is what makes me feel good. It'll make me feel good temporarily, and then after I feel like crap for a long time until I get my next dose, right? But it's really, that's how cycles start. And I also know you, Khrystian. I know you're a kind-hearted person, and when someone's hurting, you hurt, and you really take that on. I also know that there's a lot of people that kind of come to you and say, hey, man, this is what I'm struggling with, because they trust you. So if you were, to talk to anybody that might be listening to this and they might be struggling, they might be feeling alone, they might feel, like they're drowning, like what is some advice that you would have for them that might be feeling alone? Like what is some wisdom that you would share with them?
After every storm, there's a rainbow. You may be feeling down right now, and it may feel like your pain and suffering is going to go on for a lifetime, but it won't. It's only temporary, and it does control your life for a little bit, but you just got to know that you're surrounded by people that love you, and that, like, we're here to help you get through whatever it is you're going through, whether that be depression and addiction, self-harm, whatever it is. I'm here, and I'll hold your hand no matter how long it'll take to get through whatever it is you're going through. I want you to feel my love. I want you to know that I'm here for you. Even if you don't want to talk about whatever it is, we'll talk about something else. Just, if you need me to come pick you up, I'll come pick you up. And it's nothing but love.
Ain't nothing but love. Thank you for that. That was a good message for a lot of people to hear, because a lot of people don't have people to tell them that. Or even if they have like really loving and supportive families, sometimes people don't see what a lot of our youth go through. And it's like they find out and they're surprised, and they're like, how can we help you? How can we fix you? That's like automatically something people go through. So I think what you said, just letting you go through what you need to go through, and I'll just be here if you need me, is really important. That a lot of parents and advisors and counselors need to hear. It's not all about fixing. Sometimes youth just need someone that they know is going to be there for them. So I thank you for that. Now, it is time for my favorite question, and I'm very excited to see how you are going to answer this question. If you had a microphone and a stage, and this microphone throughout the whole world, everyone's going to hear what you're saying right now, what is one issue you would like to highlight?
Ooh. Okay, that could be anything. There's like a lot of answers I would like to give, but if we're going to focus on one, that would be men's mental health. Maybe for like hundreds of years, men were supposed to have this macho personality. They're not supposed to be sad, they're not supposed to cry, they're not supposed to be scared. They're just supposed to man up, I guess, and just kind of go through life just not having any other emotion except for just like, being hard, just having like a poker face on. And it really sucks that the male, like the patriarchy, was really just kind of messing things up for male. I mean, it was created by men, and they're telling us men to just be men. We're in a different generation now where we can talk about our feelings, we can show our emotions, but a lot of us really don't want to because they're still taught that you're not supposed to just do anything about it, talk about it, or just show it. And I feel like if we just had a little time for ourselves to just let things out and just, cry once in a while, I feel like we would have way less suicide rates. We would have a lot of, I wouldn't say happy people, but we'd be in better moods. And I feel like it's not really talked about a lot, and it really needs more attention because the male suicide rate is higher than the women's, and no one really wants to check up on us. If it's like women, they go straight to them if there's like an issue, or if they're sad or whatnot. With men, it's like, oh, you're upset, all right, cool, let's talk about something else, we're not gonna touch that subject. And I just feel like we just need to let out our emotions. Things will be a lot smoother.
I agree 100%. And thank you for lifting that up, because I think mental health in general is very important. And I think when you truly focus on the men's mental health, it's something that in my life has been taboo up until this point. Now I feel comfortable talking about it. Now I have a partner and a family that supports my healing journey and that knows how to support that. But not everybody has that yet. I also want to lift up something that you said, that sometimes our women in our life can be better teacher to us in terms of how can that look like. Because when I think of my mom, when I think of my grandma, when I think of my sister, those are the people that really walked with me in that journey in order for me to be more balanced, and in order for me to be more connected and pay more attention to my emotions, and in order for me to be able to check myself and say, am I feeling good? Do I feel good today? And if I don't feel good, it's okay not to be good too. But how do I make sure that I don't stay there too long? So, for me, those are the people that I think about. If I were to ask you, who's a person that you're connected to that has walked with you in your healing journey and that has walked with you in your life, who is one of your mentors that you can really speak on to say, this is a person that I've leaned on, this is a person that supported me, and this is a person that still walks with me? Who would you highlight?
I'd have to say my mom, Virginia. She's always been there for me, not because she has to, but because she wants to. It's not really like her motherly duty to just hold my hand throughout my entire life, but she always checks up on me, and I love her for that. She always asks how I'm doing, how I'm feeling, and a couple years ago I was going through like really, really bad depression and whatnot, feeling suicidal, self-harming, the works, all that. And whenever I'd be feeling super down, I would just give her a call and we would just talk about it. And she would just make me feel better for the time being. And it was like that for like 3 years. And she really held it down for me. She really just made me feel good. She really just lifted me up. And she got me through the whole depression phase. I thank her for that. And here I am. I am now an uplifter. I'm here to lift people up too. So shout out to my mom.
Thank you. Moms really have a way of reminding us of how sacred we are. I mean, I saw this a while back and it took me 9 months to create your heart. Don't let something break it in less than 2 minutes. And I feel like that's something that helps me get through my tough days too when it comes to that. My mom's always there. She's gonna be there for me no matter what. She can't leave me. I'm not letting her. That's just a fact. So when it comes to being sacred, my mom really helps me with that and realizing that, So my question to you is, when did you realize you were sacred? When was that moment where you're like, oh, I have a place on this earth?
It's gonna get a little deep for like a minute, but little trigger warning for the listeners, whoever's listening. It would be the last time actually I felt suicidal and wanted to go through with it. And it was pretty bad, when I was, I guess, in the midst of it, once I seen a little bit of blood, I was like, wow, that's pretty scary, I don't want to feel like this anymore. This is where I'm at right now, I'm like, I could die. And why do I want to, throw away my life over this little argument I had with this person, So patched myself up, went to bed, woke up, and just decided, hey, I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna be better for me. I could be better for people around me, but it's not gonna make me better. I have to do better for myself. I have to really become a stronger vessel for me. And ever since then, I've been super positive. I'm me. I'm happy. I'm happy to spread happiness. I'm happy to spread love, and that just really sticks with me. It's like I got out of that tough spot, and now here I am. I'm kind of like a butterfly. I was in my little cocoon, and then here I am. I just want to spread love to everybody. So I am sacred.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. If I can mention one, thank you for being brave enough to share that experience with us, because it's not easy. It's not easy to talk about it. It's not easy to remember that. And sometimes that pain also comes with a little bit of shame too. I'm happy that you're here. I think this world is a way better place with you in it. And I'm happy to call you my brother, and I have no issue saying I love you, brother. And if you're ever in that space again, you have a number to call. I got you. So for sure, I just want to thank you for sharing that, and really for just being vulnerable, because I know it ain't easy being vulnerable in general. So thank you. You talked about the butterfly, and I instantly thought of my partner. I instantly thought of my sister, because they really connect to the butterflies. I was actually just at a butterfly sanctuary last month in Santa Cruz at Natural Bridges. So butterflies have been coming into my life recently. And I also know you're connected to the four-legged partners, our dogs, our animals, our cats, everything like that. And we always talk about what animal best represents you. So as a way to kind of close up a little bit, maybe, what animal do you want to bring into the space? What animal do you think best represents you?
Oh man, here we go. I always said my animal would be a gorilla, and I'm going to stick to that. More specifically, a silverback gorilla. They're kind of the protectors of their group. It could be a big group, it could be a small group. It doesn't matter. They just have one singular protector, and that one's going to protect the whole group, no matter what, no matter at what cost or whatnot. And gorillas, they will look at you if you want to, walk by them and whatnot. They're not going to mess with you up until, they see you pose a threat, I like to keep my people good. I like to keep them healthy. I like to have them feeling nice. And if there's like a little thing or a big thing, then I see like I consider a threat, then, I'm gonna confront it. Whether that be a person or a situation in life, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna be the one to help out and to stop it.
Thank you for that. That was a wonderful finishing. I want to say that was a wonderful ending statement when it comes to all of our questions. I like how we ended it on a lighter tone because, we started it with saying Khrystian's a comedian. Khrystian brings laughter, and I feel like if you listen to us Emilio, don't scrap this. If you listen to us in the podcast, you'll hear us laughing throughout it. So thank you for bringing that laughter into this podcast. I appreciate it because it's something we do forget a lot of the time. So I appreciate that. And, I just want to ask you and Ariel, do either of you have any closing remarks, anything else you'd like to say? Ariel, let's go to you first.
Of course, I would say, for our listeners to really connect to the true words that Khrystian said, the idea of mental health, the idea of enlaquech and reciprocity and how to show up in relationships, the idea of the darkest times. When is it that we feel like there's no other outlet? Like all of the medicine that you brought today, Khrystian, I truly appreciate it. And I hope that I truly appreciate you as a person. So for me, I know I gained more than I offered, and I'm walking away full. I'm walking away feeling balanced, and I'm walking away from this conversation in a good space. So thank you for both of you, for Alejandro for facilitating, and Khrystian for bringing your full authentic self. I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you too. I would like to say, 1, I love you both. 2, thank you for just having me here. It was nice to talk about me, not to sound narcissistic right there. It just it was kind of therapeutic for me, just kind of just talking about my opinions for like the youth, or talking my past a little bit. It feels like a little weight has been lifted off my chest a little bit. A weight I didn't know that was there, but it's gone now. So yeah, just thank you for just having me here. Thank you for being a part of my life, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you, both of you. I'm very grateful for having both of you amazing humans in my life. Thank you to our listeners for tuning in for another portion of this youth segment, part of the podcast. We appreciate you. I hope you all had an amazing New Year's. Make sure you check out all of our social medias, our Instagram at La Cultura Cura, our Facebook at National Compadres Network. Yeah, thank you for riding along with us on this journey one more time, and we're excited for the next one. Have a good one.
For more information about Healing Generations and the Healing Generations Institute, visit nationalcompadresnetwork.org and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with our new releases.